Hey, hi everybody. It's Coffee with Jen and Sharon.
Good
I'm
morning.
Sharon.
I'm Jen, and I'm
And
I'm having water today. It's one of those days where I feel like I might need to stay hydrated. It's not hot. It's just that I've been running around and doing stuff, so feeling
well,
parched.
I applaud your self-care because
Thank
I
you.
tend to be terrible about making sure I have my water with me.
Yes,
But
same here. Same here. I don't know why it is, but I can like all of a sudden I'll realize I have this terrible crushing headache, and I've been working at my computer for like 3 hours. I'm like, what could be the problem? And I realize I haven't moved. That's one thing. So I haven't changed my
yeah,
focus, and also that means I haven't gone to the bathroom or gotten any water. It's like, if we were on an airplane, we would think we were being denied our basic human rights.
yeah, that's
For
right.
some reason, when we're working at our computer, that all goes out the window and we forget it. We forget to do those basic things. That I'm sure everybody does this.
Well, I think it's kind of interesting too because today we're going to be talking about procrastination and I'll do it in a minute. I'll get to it later. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
But maybe that's kind of how we're being with our self-care too with the water. Like it
Yeah.
maybe it's about prioritization. Like my
Hmm.
husband tends to be really good about carrying his water with him everywhere.
Uh-huh.
And the man also apparently doesn't need any written lists. He just knows what he wants to do. And it's kind of annoying because
Hmm.
um, I need I need to be tell myself what to do, and I still
Mhm.
procrastinate. And my teens are even more of champion procrastinators.
Oh, yes. Well, first of all, I just want to say, uh, yay, Scott. Good job. I do want to just say it's very possible, not 100%, but it's possible that he is not having to keep a mental list for three other smaller humans in your home to the same degree that you are. You don't even need to respond. That's just a hypothetical, but
Well, I will say I will respond because there was talk about a post COVID sleepover because I have two immune children now.
yay,
Yay!
yay.
Um, and they were asking me like, "Oh, is that too much?" Something about like, "Is that too much trouble for you, mom?" And I'm like, "Dad's right here," and they're like, "Well." Dad doesn't usually really get that involved with the sleepovers, so it doesn't really affect him as much.
They've learned who to go to for which thing. There's probably something that they go to for him that they don't bother you for. Like, can I have some money to go to the movies or something? I mean,
Or, who he's much more likely to take them for ice cream. I'm just not that
mm,
interested in going out for ice cream a lot of the time.
yeah,
I know. But anyway, but
yeah.
when it comes to what's the biggest hurdle with like I'll do it in a minute? Do you hear that in your house?
All right, I'm going to lay it on the line here. Sometimes when we have these conversations, Sharon is like current you parents out there, and I'm future you because my kids
Yeah.
are on the other side of the teen years. Actually, not quite, almost. I'm rounding up.
You've
One of
got
them,
the college kids. I've
right,
got the high school and middle school.
exactly. One of mine is
Right.
about to exit the teen years. I have some like not so great news for you on this front, which is
Uh-oh.
that I still get the I'll do it later, I'll do it in a minute, I'll do it on my own timetable. Their timetable and my table don't match. Uh, and I think it's just a matter of that P word we talked about, priorities. My priority doesn't match their priority. I'm trying to do this in a way that doesn't lay blame on anybody because it's easy to get super annoyed when my priority is I want that kitchen counter cleaned off now because I'm going to make dinner. But I don't always
Oh
take
yes.
to explain why I have that priority or the dining room table. That's a big one for me. Our
Yeah.
dining room table is the landing strip where everything goes. And I might be making dinner and thinking ahead a step, again, something that young adults are not famous for, and thinking, when I'm done making this dinner, I'm going to want to have a place to put the plates that the dinner is on. So my thought might be to send a little text to the people in my house to say, could someone please clear off the table so that we can have dinner? And I don't get much response until they're literally on top of me in the kitchen saying, "Oh, is dinner ready? Oh," and I'm like, "Yeah, but where am I going to put it? Because nobody cleared off the table."
Do you hear, and maybe I hear this in my house, well, none of that is my stuff.
Hmm.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
there's a very individual approach to, I ask for help with something. It sounds like there's a theme here. Like we're both talking a lot about cleaning around the house. At least that's what
Mhm.
I'm thinking in my head.
Yeah.
Like you ate something, cooked something for lunch. I should not be looking for that pan and finding it in the sink or on the stove when I'm ready to cook dinner and need that pan.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I say, can someone help with X, Y, or Z? Can you clean off the dining room table? Well, none of that is mine.
Mm-hmm.
Or I had dishes last night, but that was an afternoon dish or a lunch dish. So it wasn't technically my dish because it wasn't part of dinner.
Or this favorite one, the dishwasher was full, so I had to leave it on the counter. Okay, that's valid for the period of time during which the dishwasher is running. But there were two options here. You could have cleaned the dish by hand, heaven forbid.
Oh my gosh, that would never happen in my house.
Or you could have come back a little bit later and seen, oh, the dishes are done running. Maybe I could unload the dishwasher and reload it with my stuff. That is higher level thinking, and that takes a long time. And that does occasionally happen around here. So I can give you some good news on that.
Oh,
that does sometimes happen.
The noticing what needs to be done.
Yeah,
that is next level, and I'm not really seeing that. And honestly, I think I'm still developing that. Like,
yeah, I mean, you don't need it. You don't do it until you need it, and it's the kind of thing that you don't see how all the pieces work together until you're the person doing most of that work. But even things that don't impact us, that we might ask them to do, that maybe are beneficial for them, like maybe your kids are old enough to make their own haircut appointment or their dentist appointment, or to pick up some clothes off the floor or whatever, so that they can find their work uniform. Those things also tend to get put off. And I think we actually do have some articles that we're going to share with you about what is behind the whole I'll do it later. I mean, you can have a kid who's on the couch with their feet up, scrolling Facebook, or probably in their case, Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok. So it seems like there's nothing preventing them from doing that thing at that time. But to them, there is some blockade that is going on that makes it seem to be impossible for them to just say, okay, I'll take care of that, even though it would make everybody's life better, including theirs, if they just did it.
I've been there this summer with those kinds of things. There were a lot of steps that needed to be done for a summer job. And I was having the child do it because I wanted them to be responsible. And deadlines were coming. I knew that the job was starting and not all the paperwork, and they had to get the working papers, which involves the high school and like a copy of a physical. And I wasn't going to do it, but I knew that this was coming up at the last minute, and somehow I was going to get pulled in to solve the now emergency. I hate that. This is suddenly my problem. Now, in that case, I just decided not to. I gave the phone number of the pediatrician to call, and I said, call and send the thing. And somehow they worked it out. And maybe I shouldn't have been, maybe I'm taking on too much. Maybe it's just not going to be my emergency. And if it doesn't work out, then that's that. But I think sometimes we want the thing to go through. We want them to get the job.
Yes.
We want them to complete the application for some program, or we want them to finish their homework.
Or college.
And so we make it our job.
To go to college. So we want them to miss that application deadline. Yeah, sometimes it's higher stakes than others. And so we do insert ourselves because we're like, come on, you got to get this done. I think sometimes they actually do know it's urgent, and they don't, by their body language or what they say, their words say it's not important to me, but I think there's something else maybe going on. I think maybe it's a little bit of fear that could be holding them back. Like, I don't really know how to do this thing.
Yes.
And I don't want to have to make that phone call. So I'm putting it off. And I mean, who among us doesn't do that, right? If there's something on your list that you either don't know how to do, or it's just a dreaded task, taxes, say, is there a reason perhaps that there's a long line of people to mail their taxes right before midnight on the day before taxes are due? Yes. I mean, there is some psychology to I just don't really know how to do that, or it's super onerous, so I'm going to put it off until I have to. But there is some other mystifying thing that goes on in the teen brain for the stuff that's low stakes, but it would just be polite if they would do it when you asked. I don't really quite understand what's up with could you put that plate you just used in the dishwasher? Yeah,
Yes.
I'll do it later.
Why are
Like,
we
what?
waiting on that?
Why?
Yeah.
Oh, Deborah has a good recommendation here. Oh, Wendy, we love Wendy Mogul. She is.
Yeah.
So is there something in that book, Deborah, that helped you wrap your head around the idea of the I'll do it later thing? I'd love to know whatever that tidbit of advice was. It could be
I
even
want to
on
hear. I want to hear from Deborah, but I know that book too, and I believe she might be talking about letting their consequences, let the natural
Oh,
consequences hit the kid, and they kind of learn from their own failures that maybe it wasn't such a good idea to wait till the last minute. You know, I've seen this too with you know, when they have to submit something or print something, and if they find out if you wait to the last minute, yeah, you did have enough time, but you didn't account for maybe there won't be printer ink because, you know, it's in the mail on the way. We ordered it. Or maybe, you know, you got sick at the last minute and you didn't have the time you thought you did, or the unexpected events too. Oh, here we go, Deborah. Everything. Let them be responsible for their own stuff. I know. And sometimes, Deborah, I think it's our problem, as we're kind of getting at here. But you know what is our problem? When it's our house. So my question, thank you, Deborah, for that. My question is, when it comes to the cleanliness and the chores, should we be setting a deadline or like holding on to, I mean, your girls are kind of big to hold on to their phones because they're college age. That would be kind of
that doesn't
too
work.
much.
Yeah, we'll go on that.
I'm not probably.
No, you could still. And I think that can be useful, especially if it's done in a way that isn't really strictly punitive, but it's more like, I think this might be holding you back from getting something done. So I'm just going to hang on to it for you until you can follow through on it.
Distracting.
It's distracting you from something that you need to get done. So let me help you. Yeah, that could be one approach, although it's just as likely that we're like, give me that thing.
I use the fine too, the monetary fine, because and that does affect some of my kids more than others because they're money motivated. And, you know, I can ask 100 times to wipe down the counter and get rid of the toothpaste. Oh, I will, Mom, I will. And then if I find the toothpaste and the toothbrushes all over the place, I'm going to fine you $1. That did solve that problem. So maybe I should be using it more. I don't know.
Okay, but how do you get around but that wasn't my mess, or like?
I know whose toothbrushes whose.
Okay, that's all right. So as long as you have a way you can follow through, I think that works really well. But when you have kids who share a bathroom and it's like a combined mess, and they each think the other one did the thing that is bugging you, then or the failure to replace the toilet paper, somebody will always say, "Well, I did it. It wasn't me."
Yes.
You know, it's that famous family.
That I can't tell. I don't know who. Shush, don't tell my kids. I cannot tell who left the empty toilet paper.
So it's hard to fine for that unless you did a group fine.
I've never fined for a group fine.
Thinking, what does Deborah have to say?
Same stuff at home. Don't do laundry for them all the time. Missing an article of clothing. They think life is dependent on wearing, not being clean. It's expected to be there. You know, we have a work uniform situation too now. And, you know, I mean, and we already have a missing hat. Okay, so
how did that happen?
I don't know. I don't know where it is. I'm sure it's in this house, but the hat for work is missing. And I said on the way to work yesterday, I said, what happens now that you haven't had your hat the last couple times? I'm thinking maybe there's like a natural consequence that's gonna, you know, they're gonna have to pay for a new one, like another $8 to get a replacement.
Right? We want that to be the case so that they learn.
We do, but it's like, oh, the hat is optional. So much for that plan.
All right. They're not doing
James has some input too.
All right, James, lay it on us.
Let them fail. Experience is one of the best teachers, as you often take the test before the lesson. That's wise. So James, tell us, and Deborah, tell us how we use that to help our kids become cleaner around the house? How do we give them the test?
Right. How do we get them to do the thing without the procrastinating? That's the thing. That's the nut that we really have a hard time cracking, because we can, if it's their thing, I'm all about them doing their own laundry. They've been doing it for years. And you shrank that. Oh, maybe next time read the label where it says line dry only.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We all learned that way.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all about that for my kids. But when it's the thing that I really would like them to do because it's being inconsiderate not to, like, could you please move your shoes off the kitchen counter? That wasn't mine, by the way. That is a friend of mine who had that the other day. And the response was, well, they're clean. Or
unless they just came from the shoe store.
Even then, it doesn't belong on the kitchen counter.
I mean, I have seen that. I've seen that. They just came out of the shoebox and they're on the counter, and I have this visceral reaction. And then I have to remind myself, no, they just came. It's not, they didn't walk anywhere yet, you know.
But it still is like the kitchen counter is like, in my house, kitchen counter land is precious, precious territory. There is very little of it that isn't occupied by something. So it's like when they see a clean place and they put the thing there, I'm like, no, I just made that clean spot so I can use it to cut those nice strawberries I just bought or whatever. You know, it's just, it's constant. Yeah. And I don't know why it is something that they feel okay about saying, oh, I'll get to it later. Like, wait, no, that really wasn't optional. I really kind of want you to do it now.
You know what I've noticed, Jen? When the kids are outside the house or talking about how they treat their friends, it's a completely different story. Like, I would never do, like, would you do this if you had an apartment or a roommate? Oh. Said, of course I wouldn't do that. And why are you doing it to the rest of us?
Right. Oh, that's a good point.
Deborah's boys have their own apartment and cleaning has to happen by them. Food shopping or no food. Recycling only happens once it's overflowing and one gets angry at the other. Yeah, see that? Now all of a sudden they're neat and clean when they're noticing the mess because there's no parent to do it.
There is no safety net. That is the thing. And that's something that my husband and I have also discussed, is that perhaps when maybe some of these things are things they only do when they are living independently and there's just no other option. Nobody else is ever coming to put that dish in the dishwasher or clean it. Nobody else is ever picking up that towel off the floor. My brother, when he was living on his own as a young adult, I think my sister, who's older than both of us, went to go visit him and basically read him the riot act about his towels. She's like, this is gross. You don't leave these on the floor. This is how you get a staph infection. It's like, some of these things you just have to figure it out the hard way, I guess.
So maybe the bottom line is that, we have to go through this uncomfortable period because as long as we're there, the reality is not going to set in on some of these things.
I guess.
But underneath, they're figuring it out. We hope.
We hope. Deborah has something else she wanted to say about her 22-year-old. Just cleaned the cover last week while I was there. Do you think that's why that he cleaned it? Because you were coming? I wonder. And the 24-year-old was upset that the crock pot, which hadn't been used for a while, was actually
put away. I think she means.
Oh, yeah. Put away. Yes. Oh, wait. Okay. So I just have to say, I'm really impressed that they have a crock pot and B, know how to use it. That's a success story, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we all love having a few more empty inches on the counter.
Yeah. Oh, I think maybe I misinterpreted what she said. Maybe she was the one using the crock pot, not him.
Oh.
Well, whatever your situation is, we are going to put some articles out there this week. And actually, I think it's coming up in our Wednesday newsletter. I think it's all about procrastination. So why they do it, what we can do about it, or what we can't do about it. I know that
our friends tonight. It's coming out tonight.
Oh, today is Wednesday. How did that happen? Oh, yeah, that's right. Today is Wednesday. So watch out for the newsletter tonight. This should be hitting your mailbox if you've subscribed. And if you have not subscribed to our newsletter, it really is pretty great. And it's not a lot. It's not a heavy lift.
No. And we're having fun with it. We're having fun putting some GIFs or GIFs in it and stuff. Yeah. Some funnies.
Yeah, I think we're also putting in the newsletter today, which is Wednesday. I have to keep reminding myself this. I think we're putting a link for our Father's Day gift guide.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to forget. Father's Day is this Sunday, and you might actually want to, make sure that the kids do something about it. So there's still time. You could look at this and get some ideas. It may not be time to order it from Amazon. You might actually have to go to a physical store, but maybe get a little something for dad because, they get overlooked sometimes and they feel underappreciated too. We feel them on that. So don't forget Father's Day. Don't procrastinate about getting Father's Day. I have to go get a card right now.
Oh, we don't do cards anymore.
Oh, no more cards.
No, it's like a gentleman's agreement. We don't. Nobody in our marriage, nobody gets cards for the other one. So there's
yes. Yeah. It's like, it's a treaty. You have a treaty. Yeah, I like it. That makes sense. Very well done. Well played.
I just put our newsletter link so you can join us in tonight's newsletter. Be sure to check it out.
Yeah, I think if you sign up today, you should get it this evening. So
for sure.
We'll hook you up. We won't leave you high and dry. So come get all the good advice that's coming to you. And we'll have to remember to read those articles ourselves, Sharon, so we know how to fix this procrastination problem.
Oh, I know. That's right. We'll get advice too. We need it as well. Oh, and you know what else we did that is planning ahead and not procrastinating? We already picked a topic for next week, didn't we?
We did, because when we got on this morning before we went live, we were complaining a little bit about something. So what is our topic next week?
Well, we were complaining about the complaining in our house, I think. And then
we were complaining.
I think we called it I don't know what we called it. Something about the tide of negativity, or
yes, right. Well, like
the volume of negativity.
Volume of negativity,
that we woke up to in our homes or had in our homes. So next week we're going to talk about that.
Right, how to deal with it, or just to vent about it, because I think everybody's in each other's space now that they're out of school.
Yes,
or they will be soon.
But the trick is, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to vent about the negativity without being negative ourselves. That should be interesting. We'll try to be constructive.
Well, yes, let's be constructive. That we'll set that goal for ourselves. It's good to have a goal.
All right. Well, we should let everybody go. We had fun with you guys visiting us. Add your comments if you didn't catch us live. Add your comments later. We always see them, and we love to see them. So, otherwise, we will see you next week. All right. Bye, everyone.